not be proper at this time.
Shut this hearing down. This hearing is an attack on women's rights and an attack on democracy. Shut this hearing down now. I urge you to shut this hearing down. Mr. President, a threat to our democracy.
Indeed.
The framers decided a government to protect the people. I dissent to the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh must not be put on the court. Exercise humility.
Well, that is an excerpt from the longer, more riotous scene on Capitol Hill yesterday as Brett Kavanaugh, Donald Trump's nominee, the second nominee for the Supreme Court of the United States. It's a new Democrat strategy of shouting down, blocking, deplatforming even mainstream conservative Republican picks. This, by the way, was not some random organic act. Photos have emerged of protesters literally being paid cash to protest, and the Democratic congressmen themselves have acknowledged that they coordinated in advance with these street teams. My thesis is that this is merely the latest step in the move of the left to deplatform anyone they don't like. That is not to debate, but to shut down. First they went for Alex Jones. Now they're coming for friends like Gavin McInnes and his Proud Boys fraternity. Gavin joins us now via Skype from New York. Gavin, great to see you again.
Thank you for having me, sir.
I think that you were merely an appetizer. When you were kicked off Twitter, when your Proud Boys were all kicked off Twitter, when you have been deplatformed, when they pepper sprayed your face when you went into New York University, when you were, I think the main reason our cruise last year was banned from Norwegian Cruise Lines, this deplatforming of the right, it's not actually aimed at you, Gavin. It's aimed at anyone who disagrees with the left. You were just the test drive, don't you think?
Yes, it's aimed at anyone on the right who might help Trump get reelected, and that means appealing people who are charming. They're not concerned with Richard Spencer because he has no appeal. They're not concerned with David Duke. They are concerned with funny people who will have rational reasons for their small government pro-Trump beliefs. And it's not working.
What's not working? Because I am terrified by how well the deplatforming is working. And I don't mean necessarily people being banned. I mean like thrown out of buildings. I'm terrified of the high-tech banning. I mean, you were vaporized on Twitter without warning, explanation, or appeal. Tommy Robinson was kicked off Twitter for the same reason. Alex Jones was kicked off just about every platform on the same day. So I think it is working. That's what scares me about it.
No, what's not working is this push to delegitimize Trump and to make people not like him anymore. Trump is getting reelected, I promise you. And similarly in Canada, Justin Trudeau is trying to censor the mockery of him. That's making him even less appealing. So every time these people do things, yes, it's inconvenient for us. Yeah. Yes, we need to find a new social media, but our popularity keeps growing. Alex Jones, the day after he was banned, had the #1 app on the entire internet.
Yeah. You're right. And the thing about Alex Jones is you mentioned a couple of fringe racists. You mentioned Richard Spencer and David Duke. Alex Jones is not a racist, obviously. He engages in conspiracy theories, but the way I see his place in the conservative firmament is he's a uniform, he's an omnipresent skeptic. He's skeptical. He's an equal opportunity skeptic. He calls BS on everything. He disputes everything. He doesn't believe anything, which I think if you have to be a sucker who believes everything you say from authority, or if you want to be a bit paranoid and challenge anything you hear from authority, these days it's probably better to be a universal skeptic. And does he go too far? Sure. Is it entertaining? You bet. But I believe that his use is that he doesn't believe anything he reads, and he gives airtime to any contrary view. That's why he has a huge viewership, unlike David Duke or Richard Spencer. That's why they want to shut Alex Jones down, because he actually is an important voice, even though I think he goes too far, obviously, on certain matters. He's a little paranoid. But he's a universal skeptic.
I think there's two things going on here, and it's funny that you and I are talking about it because you're more into politics than me, and I'm more into fun than you. But both Both of those things are why he was banned. He was banned for conspiracy theories, and I agree with you. What the hell's the matter with a conspiracy theory? Watergate was a conspiracy theory before it was true. You know, Vince Foster then breaking into his office, that was a conspiracy theory before it was confirmed. Conspiring, a theory about conspiring, good. Get some theories about conspiring. I want the government to be under scrutiny. But the second point is the fun. He was hyperbolic. He was screaming, throwing his papers at the camera. He was banging the table. He was ripping his shirt off. He was colorful and fun. He still is, obviously. And this whole war to make everyone think the same is ultimately a war on fun and a war on color. I keep talking about this radio station in Austin that's booting out all of these bands that might like Trump. And what you end up with is Stalinist radio, where every musician feels the same about every subject and every song is supporting same agenda. That's not what the West is about. That's what the East is about.
Yeah. You know, I saw this insane essay the other day about post-comedy, where it has the trappings of a comedy routine, but it's not funny. And that's the comedy that will be left after we get rid of the. I mean, you know, who was it, Orwell, or was it Solzhenitsyn who said every joke is a little revolution? It was Solzhenitsyn was sent to prison for making a joke in a private letter, and all it was a nickname. He called Stalin the Whiskered One. That was enough to send him to Siberia. That's how I think we're getting to that kind of crazy mob rule again, except for it's not one tyrant, it's the tyranny of the mob.
No, New York Times just had an article about this, I believe it was yesterday, that was complaining about private Facebook groups. And they mentioned that I talked to my friends on private Facebook groups. They talked about anti-vaccine people. Now, obviously, you and I are on the same page with vaccines. We support them, and I'm against the idea of not vaccinating your children. But what I'm against more than that is the concept that you're not allowed to privately criticize Big Pharma.
Yeah.
We're now at the point now where private discussions are under siege. Soon they're going to be subpoenaing our texts and recording our conversations. This is already treading into dark territory.
Well, I mean, as you know, Robert Spencer, not Richard Spencer, the Robert Spencer of Jihad Watch, MasterCard, I mean, they've backed down since, but they just said, oh, we're not going to do any transactions with you, as if MasterCard has morally reviews every single expenditure. It would be like your cell phone company calling you up one day and saying, hey, we don't like some of the conversations you're having on our cell phone, so we're going to take away your phone number, and you have to, and by the way, all the other cell phone companies are too, because you've been saying some bad things. That's the politicization of everything. I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know you're busy today, but let me show you a clip from those same Brett Kavanaugh hearings on Capitol Hill. There is a young woman, I think she's with the White House. Her name is Zina Bash. And let me show you, you can see.
I would give her an 8. I think she's a Benjamin Buttons babe in that she's getting hotter as she gets older.
She's a very beautiful woman, and the name Zina Bash, as you can detect from it. And let's play the B-roll of her sitting there. She's behind Brett Kavanaugh on the right there, as you can see. And she's just resting her fingers on her arm. But it looks, I guess, if you're looking for like some encoded hidden message, it looks like she's making the OK symbol on her finger. I guess if you're who is that Dan fella who had all these secret cryptic things at the Louvre, you know, I'm just trying to remember the name of his awful pulp fiction novels about these Vatican conspiracies. Anyways, if you're looking for a secret symbol, that apparently is it. And look at this tweet. Look at this tweet about what Zina Bash did with her fingers. More context for the Zina Bash incident. During the Kavanaugh hearing, she is sitting normally, then checks her phone to read something. Some are saying a text, but we have no confirmation. Then she holds the pose at issue for over 30 seconds with a slight smirk. You be the judge. Dan Brown, that's the name of who I'm thinking about, the conspiracy theorist fiction writer. So talk about conspiracy. Who has more of a conspiracy theory, Gavin? Is it Alex Jones, who's asking questions about government? Or is it some kook on the left who thinks that Jewish Mexican lawyer who puts her finger like this for a second, is tweeting out, I'm not even kidding, they're implying it is a white power signal.
They're implying even more. They're implying that the text said something like, "It is time," and then like hashtag WP or something. And then, all right, it's time to do it. But I think you and I might differ a tiny bit on this. You think they're being willfully ignorant and pretending that they believe that that is a thing. I disagree. Like, if this was the Salem witch trials, you're saying they're calling that person a witch just because they want to kill them. I think they actually believe this person is a witch. I think they believe that there was a text, and I saw other tweets from Occupy Democrats and big companies, pretty mainstream leftist groups saying, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're rubbing it in our faces. I think they believe what they're screaming.
Huh. You know, maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe some people believe that a Jewish Mexican lawyer, female woman, not male women, but there's so many little check marks there. Jewish, check. Mexican, check. Female, check. That she is a white power advocate. Some people believe that, but other people say, you know what? We've just got to step on the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. We've got to throw it in the air. They got 300 million Americans. You know, maybe 500,000 people will believe it, and we'll just rev up our base. And I think a lot of it's fake, but you know what? I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to Proud Boys-ify. They're trying to Gavin McInnes-ify, Alex Jones-ify an accomplished young woman, Hispanic lawyer in the White House. That's how far gone they are. Last word to you, Gavin.
You know what it is also? It's projection. They do hide peoples in media. They do, these writers for shows, they will tell you later that that character was trans or this person was gay, or even the guy who wrote Star Wars said that the Darth Vader and the Empire was meant to be white nationalism. And that's really what the message was. Or there was, speaking of Proud Boys, there's this guy, Josh Androsky, I believe is his name. And he's the one who got them kicked out of this bar in L.A., which we're legally pursuing. And he admits on podcasts very openly, when he wrote for SpongeBob SquarePants, that he would sneak in communist and socialist messages into SpongeBob. And then you look at Sam Hyde, who was booted from Adult Swim because someone lied and said he was sneaking in secret swastikas and alt-right messages, which he absolutely, unequivocally was not. Yeah. So they are accusing us of doing what they do on a regular basis.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny, the amount of outrage over this little hand symbol, which isn't even like that. That's the letter F in sign language, or it's okay or fantastic in common parlance. Louis Farrakhan, the head of the Nation of Islam, was sitting next to Bill Clinton at Aretha Franklin's funeral. Out and out racist. He's really a black Klansman. That was just edited out of the whole thing. But an innocent non-gesture, that's dominant news. We're living in crazy times. I hope you keep fighting the fight down there, Gavin.
I always will, my friend.
All right, thanks for taking the time. There you have it. Gavin McInnes. He has a show called Get Off My Lawn on CRTV, and what a pleasure to talk to him today via Skype. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch the daily show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.